Do you like the Oakland A's? Are you a fan of the Golden Knights? Do you love the Los Angeles Chargers? Well then, my friend, you're in the right place. This is the Snake Sports Talk Show with your host, Jake the Snake Silva, brought to you by the Spotlight Sports Network.
So, all right, and I'm going to shift over to this, but because I've been waiting for at least, I've been waiting for the last couple of days to really just kind of speak my mind off here in this one, and it just always gets better. What do we got going on all throughout, this whole week? We got NBA playoffs that are just straight fire, and it's been really, really good all throughout it. We've got NHL playoffs, Stanley Cup playoffs, so much fun and electrifying. And it was so intense. Oh, and by the way, congratulations to Phil Mickelson, who had won majors at 50 years old. Nobody could ever think he could do that. But he stayed strong, was solid, and he was really good. Oh, and by the way, NFL's just getting better and better. Training camps, OTAs. Everybody's finally seeing everybody. You know what's one particular sport that's just really disappointed me just in the last year and a half? Something has to be done about Major League Baseball. I don't understand this. And what's really crucial about this whole thing, and mind you, my background, I've grown up watching the game of baseball. I never thought in my entire life that I would ever come into a situation like this. In the last year and a half, the game of baseball has changed drastically. It's more analytical and statistical. The other thing of it is it's been getting younger. I mean, Bryce Harper made the scene at 19 years old. Juan Soto was an 18-year-old kid. And then you've got Fernando Tatis Jr., who's just absolutely electrifying. Not a lot of these kids, and I'll tell you what, when they go and travel, none of these kids are really of drinking age. They're just over there at the at the hotels when they're staying and when they're on the road, and they're focusing up on their game. So the game itself is just getting younger and younger. But what's really disappointed fans, the players, myself included, has really just been the lack of adjustments in the game. By the way, what am I talking about from here? Well, the infamous 3-0 count has struck again. And it's become such an unwritten rule that apparently, from my optics, I can't seem to really see the point of this unwritten rule. But Tony La Russa came out and said something about Yermin Mercedes, who is one of the young rising stars, a rookie from Chicago, that has been tearing it up this year. And he's actually been really fun to watch. So they're playing the Minnesota Twins, and it's 14-4. And the Twins have a position player on the mound pitching because the offense really couldn't string any more runs. The pitching itself couldn't find its locations. So they've practically given up on this game, and it's a regular season game, mind you, because the game itself is 162 games a year. That's always been the tradition. So it didn't really matter. It didn't really matter. This was a throwaway game. So they bring in a position player to pitch. Yermin Mercedes is on a hitter's count at 3-0. And they're winning this game. Well, the next thing you know, Yermin Mercedes hits a solo home run that only counted one run. And Tony La Russa, mind you, all throughout his career, from Chicago to the A's to St. Louis, you've won World Series titles. You have won division titles. the last thing I would have ever heard from a manager who has done all of it is for him to come out and explain about the 3-0 count, but not to mention throwing your own player under the bus about it. This has got to stop. This absurdity has got to stop. Because, mind you, I'm already out of full energy with Major League Baseball. It's been frantically disappointing. And not to mention, to make matters worse, there's been no adjustments to anything. So, Yerman Mercedes, at the end of it, he gets thrown with a baseball behind the back, and they suspend Tyler Duffy because of that. And then La Russa continues on and says, I'm not holding them accountable for whatever happened. You know, the Twins were going to... I will tell you this. If you are in a company and you're managing it, I mean, the best way possible is you got to have the right people who know how to manage, the company. Because, of course, it's always a top tier. There's a lot of tiers when you think of owning a company. And you got to have the right trustworthy people. But when it comes to certain mistakes or whatever, you'd be doing all that you could to support it. Because it's for the sake of the company. Not just throw one particular person on the bus, hoping that there's going to be consequences in the end, because then you're not going to get support from that end. Much like in this case, the White Sox organization. I've been saying this since the Chris Sale trade and all of the youth pieces that they picked up. I told them, give me 3 to 4 years from now. They will be competitive. They will make the postseason. And I think this could be a team that could make all the noise. I mean, look at all of the potential talents that they have. But when you have a manager that is not supportive, basically throws all the accountability, throws everybody up onto the bus, for some unwritten rule I can't see with my own 2 eyes, this has got to stop, folks. And mind you, Major League Baseball was never like this. For years. It was never like this. Baseball has always been a child's game. Okay, it was a game we grew up on, whether we were at the sandlots, whether we were in the alleyways, or we were just up at the ballparks. And we played a great game of baseball. We didn't have this no salary cap thing. Players are getting paid $300 to almost $400 million on 13-year contracts. We didn't have that. We had gutsy baseball. And if you had something to say, you better hope you had an answer back for it. Otherwise, you were going to struggle. We saw this last year with Fernando Tatis Jr. against the Texas Rangers, and the Rangers manager fussed about it. What happened to them afterward? Oh, I know. They were on a complete droughting winless streak. They lost so many games after fussing of a 3-0 count. Why are we so concerned about these unwritten rules? And why do we continuously implement them? They are unwritten for a reason, folks. They are unwritten for a reason. And if I actually met a person who wrote these so-called unwritten rules, I would have probably smacked some common sense into his face and would have told him, get out of here. Get the hell out of my office. Because this is not what baseball is truly all about. Let me ask you this. Do you think hockey gives a damn about what your feelings are? No, they don't. They're going to use all that they can to get under your skin. They're going to rock you up onto the boards. They're going to smash your face into the glass. They're going to probably end up throwing you down up onto the ice anyway to shake you and break you till you, bend you till you break. And that's why playoff hockey has been so exciting. because they don't care about what's going on the on the feeling side. They're not there to worry about that. They're there to win a game. In NBA, we know how much that everybody calls out on flops. But when you think about NBA playoffs, I mean, a lot of it has to be scoring offenses, defensive tactics, and that's all that it is for 4 long-minute quarters. That's all it is. In the NFL, if you look at a lot of the adjustments, I know people say a lot of different things about the NFL, but when you look at a lot of the adjustments, they're like, all right, well, let's do it. Let's fix it. They've made all the adjustments in the world. Why hasn't baseball come to grips with that yet? Are we that much into tension about really evolving the game? Here's what's funny. People out there are like, Fernando Tatis Jr., he shouldn't even be swinging at 3-0 counts. How dare him? That's absurd. Mind you, people think that they don't praise young talent, and I tend to forget. Remember the time that we praised young talents like Derek Jeter or David Ortiz or A-Rod in Texas or even Ken Griffey Jr.? He was the kid for a reason in Seattle. We praised them. We gave them all the hype and the love and the stuff. Why are we not doing that for these kids? The hell is going on in the baseball world? We seem to be all about the hating factor rather than just appreciating the talent and loving where the game is going. We don't seem to be in that realm right now, and I don't understand it. Oh, and by the way, because you want to know what's so funny is that television ratings for baseball have gone down so much that it's almost dying. Baseball is dying from the inside out, and nobody's seeing that. Umpires not making the right calls, strike zones, they are so off tune. People are fussing about 3-0 counts and all of this and that. Are you kidding me? For all these years, I have never seen baseball like this. I've never seen it be this worse. We didn't care when we had the steroid era, because what was the thing that it did? It got us back onto the televisions because of the home run race. And then when it came to the Fall Classic, everybody was all watching postseason baseball because every pitch mattered, every at-bat mattered, and it was a game of chess with the managers. We don't have that now. The managers aren't even controlling the game because it's all coming from analytics and statistics from up there, upstairs with the general manager, and that's it. Go back to letting the managers manage the game. Why do you think head coaches are so important in NFL? Why do you think head coaches are so important in hockey or even in basketball? Enough of this nonsense. This is why baseball is dying from the inside out. People are arguing a lot about strike calls, and you know what? I don't blame them. It's like Angel Hernandez has made replicas of himself, and he's everywhere on the field. He's everywhere. They're not even making the adjustments on replay calls anymore, which is really interesting. Then why the hell do we even have replays? This is why ratings have gone down so bad. And why people... This is precisely... Or now I'm understanding why people have been saying this to me over and over again, and I have completely denied it, and you know what? It's time I've resurfaced it. Baseball in this era is boring. Now I'm understanding why people are saying that. Baseball is boring. This is disappointing. This is really disappointing. And I thought this would have been better than this. Because last time I checked, when I played, I was taught a few things. I was not scolded or punished or disciplined for swinging at 3-0 counts while our team was winning. No, I got scolded for swinging at 3-0 counts when we were losing. There's a difference between the two. If you're losing in a game and you're swinging at 3-0 counts, I am coming and grabbing you by the jersey, and I'm going to tell you not to do that again. Because you need base runners. You need RBIs. You need runs. You don't swing at 3-0 counts when you're losing. It just doesn't work like that. Because that's what really shows you whether or not if you really are invested in a winning team, in a winning culture. And then you have this analytics and statistics. Listen, I grown up loving math, and I'm statistically minded. You give me numbers, you give me statistics, and I'm going to tell you whether or not that kid actually can play. Because it ain't even just about statistics itself. It's about going into the game, watching the game from every pitch, every inning of every game, and I'll tell you whether or not it cuts out or not. Okay? But analytics and statistics don't matter when it's postseason baseball. I've been saying this over and over again. It doesn't matter when you're in postseason baseball because postseason baseball has been grit, grind, toughness, and trusting everything that you have. Trusting your offense, trusting your pitching staff. If you can't do that, you're not a postseason team. Simple as that. Oh, and by the way, people are whining and complaining because of the fact of even after all that, you're murdering the other team by 11 runs? Really? I mean, last time I checked, the Atlanta Braves literally kicked the crap out of Pittsburgh 20-1. Nobody complained then. If you're really complaining about that, then make a 10-run rule. Make it a 10-run rule for all I care. But this has just been so absurd, and it's been very disappointing, but you heard it from me first. I love the game of baseball. Why? Because it's taught me about life. It has taught me so much about life. Life didn't come at me easy. Life gave me so many different obstacles, different curveballs thrown at me. And I had to find a way to navigate through those obstacles any way that I could. I didn't complain. I didn't fuss. I just had to find a way to make it work. Isn't that what baseball should be doing right now? Finding a way to make it work. Because it doesn't seem like it is. It doesn't even seem like they are even making all the attempts to make it work. And man, is that disappointing. Unbelievable. It's unbelievable to me, folks. And now I'm starting to understand why that the majority of people, and here's what's funny. People will tell me, like, oh, I remember the time where they were like, oh, I'm not going to watch a single down of football. I ain't going to do it. I mean, the rules and Roger Goodell. But why did the ratings kept going up? Because the schedules got better. The rules have adjusted. And that's why people still are glued to football. They never said that football is boring. Well, it almost makes it sound like people are refusing to wear Nike because Nike is just controversial. They got no say about. But yet Nike stocks continue to go up because the owner of Nike in Eugene, Oregon, does not give a rip about what you feel and what I say because he's got a company to run. And people still buy and wear Nike products, no matter how controversial that they may be, because that's always been Nike. They are the kind that steps you out of your comfort zone so you could actually see the realities in front of you. Why can't baseball do the same? I already know what the realities of baseball is. The traditional baseball way has been dead for years. It's time to one up and evolve the tradition. We're not changing it completely. We're making it better. And from my great-grandfather on his deathbed, would have been very disappointed at all of this. And he's told me before why he loved watching Little League Baseball more than he has a Major League Baseball, because nobody respects the game. Nobody takes it for what it is. It doesn't evolve. And I'm starting to understand that and see that why. Baseball, you've been so disappointing, and now become boring and dull. I would not be surprised if hockey ratings overlapped baseball ratings, because then that tells you that baseball's in trouble. And you've got a lot to think about all throughout this next year, because at this point, unwritten rules are absolute crap. These umpires need to be, they need to be refreshed because they're all outdated. Joe West, Angel Hernandez, really? Marty Foster? Why can't umpires get younger at this? Why can't we end up getting better umpires for the sake of the game? Why can't we just appreciate all the talent that we have around the league? Yerman Mercedes, Fernando Tatis Jr., Ronald Acuna Jr. Why can't we just appreciate all these youngsters for what and let them have fun? I've been saying this over and over again. Baseball's just been completely disappointing, and ultimately, it's become boring. And you've heard it from me personally, for a guy who's been a diehard baseball fan, that I have baseball literally everywhere, because baseball is what has shaped my life. It's what taught me all of the rules of life. Life is the pitcher on the mound. Whatever life throws at you, it doesn't matter what pitch it is, fastball, changeups, curveballs, knuckles, whatever. You're the batter in the box, and you've got to find a way to make every adjustment possible to take those pitches head on, be prepared, and take on the challenge. Regardless, you're not going to ask life to slow itself down. That's silly. You're not going to ask life to be easy. That's just absurd. Because otherwise, if life was easy, hell, I wouldn't even be in a struggling matter where you got to shape your financials right, because you still got to have a place to stay. You still got to have food on the table, and you got to support yourself. If it was easy, I'd be driving Lambos. I'd be living in a mansion. I've been doing all of this stuff. Life is not easy. Baseball is never supposed to be easy. Greatest quote ever. It's supposed to be hard. If it wasn't hard, everybody would be doing it. So, you think it's easy? Why are we in this position right now? Think about it, Major League Baseball. Because ultimately, you've disappointed me, and you've disappointed so many baseball fans.